Hey guys, how are we doing? Crypto Insight UK here, bringing you back another video. So today we've got quite a lot to talk about. In fact, the markets are green for a change. Yes, and Bitcoin is actually back at 87,300, trying to reclaim the range that we've been talking about for the last few videos. To start with, I hope everyone had a great weekend. We're going to touch on liquidity. We're going to touch on a few things that have happened over the weekend. I haven't got my X loaded up for some reason. I was just thinking about that. And then we're going to do a little bit of TA to finish off. But just before that, guys, I spent a lot of time on Friday writing the newsletter, writing about how I think structurally things are potentially ready for the next leg up. Looking at macro realistically, I talked about what's going on in China. I talked about Europe. I talked about the DXY. I talked about gold, and then why and what's happening with XRP. Pab then went on to talk about Bitcoin funding rates. He looks at like on-chain stuff as well, net realized profit and loss. So definitely go and check that out, guys. And if you do subscribe to my newsletter, thank you very much. And if you do read it, please would you subscribe? We've got now over 1,700 weekly readers, which is fantastic. And I really appreciate everyone who reads my newsletter and watches my YouTubes. And if you watch my YouTube, please do subscribe as well. It means a lot to me. Everything I do is free. It does offer paid options on Substack, but we don't create that like it's completely free. If you want to just read it, it'd be fantastic if you'd just sub to us there. So, what's going on? Let's have a look at liquidity first. In fact, no, I'm going to look at Arthur Hayes. Arthur Hayes did a tweet, and I'm going to link this into liquidity. So Arthur Hayes actually tweeted, I bet Bitcoin hits 110,000 before it retests 75,000. Why? The Fed is going from QT to QE for treasuries, and tariffs don't matter because transitory inflation. Jay Powell told me so. I'll expound on my next essay. That's the TLDR for the TikTok brain. So with that in mind, he actually was calling for like 60Ks, and then now he's changed his mind, and now he's calling for 110K, and then back to 76K potentially. So just bear that in mind with everything that I'm talking about. I respect Arthur Hayes a lot, and I just wanted to flag that. But looking at liquidity, yes, we do have some liquidity below us at between like $74,000 and $76,000 for Bitcoin. But above us is where the major liquidity lies, especially up towards that 107,000 level. I could see this move getting quite aggressive if we get some bullish catalysts in the macro and potentially that rotation. If you go and read my newsletter, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not going to get into that. But if we get some bullish catalysts, you can see us quite quickly probably chomping through this liquidity. How and if we come back down to the 76K region, I'm not 100% sure right now. So I don't want to be trying to like push onto that too much. Let's look at some other charts. So that's Bitcoin liquidity. I just wanted to highlight how much liquidity there is above us. As you guys know, we've talked about that quite a lot. And I thought this interview between Matt Hogan and Felix for Forward Guidance was really interesting. I've not finished it yet, but essentially Matt highlights a few things that I talked about in this weekly newsletter, basically saying that Bitcoin is at a discount this was pre the FOMC last week. Why is it a discount? Well, essentially what he's saying is because the short-term macro seems not that good, people have been selling off Bitcoin, but what it's actually doing is setting the foundations for the long-term price to go higher. And that's basically what I've talked about in the newsletter this week as well. He talks about how somehow we've managed to game theory governments to buy this asset, so then other governments have to buy it, and it's like a race to accumulate, and saying that if you read about Ray Dalio and the changing world order and the changes of great power, then you will understand that every 100 to 150 years, I think it's 75 to 125 years actually, fiat currency starts to fail, and there is a change in the world reserve currency. So that's one thing to definitely take into consideration. And he talks about why would the US buy Bitcoin? And he says, well, he doesn't think they've got an alternative. He thinks in the short term they'll use stable coins to bolster the US dollar around the world, but over time it will lose strength. And I agree. That's just what history tells us. So we may as well, he says, buy Bitcoin as a neutral asset rather than have a competitor's asset like the yuan for the world reserve currency. And honestly, I agree. And Bitcoin, I know we're very XRP focused on this channel, and I think XRP would serve probably a better role in that sense because it's more effective for payments. But I think realistically, you could have both. Like Bitcoin, in my opinion, could just be the digital gold. Younger people are into Bitcoin, and then XRP to make the transfers across borders. But we're focused on the short term, and we're focused on that. That's like a more long-term thought process and goal. I just wanted to highlight that to you guys. So looking at what's going on, ETH. We're going to look at a few different cryptos here, but ETH is starting to push up today. We're at 4.4% for ETH, and realistically, we're going to take us to the daily, and then go back to the weekly in a minute. But if we look at ETH, it looks to be starting to signal a potential break of this this descending pattern that's been making consecutive lower highs and then lower lows. We've actually taken our recent swing high now. So I am watching this, although the stochastic is getting a bit overcooked, but these are how reversals do start for cryptos like ETH. Just going to take us back to the weekly, so I want to highlight, obviously we had the weekly close yesterday. We didn't get the bullish engulfing candle there for ETH, but looking at Bitcoin, we didn't quite get the close back inside the range, but today we've started to take it. So it's something to watch, but it's not something to get too excited about yet. Although we are starting to curl up on the stochastic RSI, and you'll see that displayed across most alts that I look at here. And the standard RSI obviously looking to push back up as well. XRP, if it loads, which doesn't look like it's going to. I don't know why. Okay, here we go. That was a bit too fast for it. My computer's having a bit of a slow day today. I think it's joining my club. I had too many beers on Saturday night, so I'm a little bit slow today still. Getting old, you know, those 2-day hangovers. Stochastic RSI on XRP has crossed bullish and looking to turn up as well, but we'd need a green week this week to really confirm that. The key performance this morning, I've seen AVAX is really starting to pop up. I think that's interesting. I'm going to look. Oh, one other thing that I wanted to really draw your attention to, and this is volume on MEXC, so it is a bit fake, because I looked at the volume on Binance as well, and it wasn't anywhere near the same. But Trump actually tweeted about Trump's token this week, and I do think that you could probably use Trump token as like a good indicator as to when to be risk on. I think it could act as like a proxy for crypto across the board. Being maybe a green light or a signal to us of what retail investors are potentially going to do within crypto. It's a working thesis, but it's definitely something to have a think about. Another thing to have a think about that I actually tweeted, and I'll just get into this because I think it's important, is the relationship between XRP and Ethereum. I basically floated an idea on Twitter. It didn't get enough traction. I might retweet it today because I just wanted people to discuss my thought process. Essentially, I was saying, do you think that XRP and ETH are like in like a symbiotic relationship, swapping second place in the crypto market? Obviously, XRP was created before Ethereum, so it has a bit more time. And because of that, was last cycle XRP not performing so well? Is that foreshadowing what ETH's going to do this cycle? ETH doesn't perform so well this cycle, XRP has a good cycle, and then vice versa the next cycle. And they used the point of like, XRP was very institutional focused and is very institutional focused when it first came out, focusing on cross-border payments. That was about it. And ETH was the opposite. It was pretty like just trying to be the virtual machine for the whole of the blockchain, like the computer of blockchain. And now XRP is trying to have more capabilities in terms of like smart contracts and being more of like a computer in inverted commas. And ETH is trying to focus a little bit more on institutions as well with their tokenization and real world assets with like Ondo and Larry Fink and BlackRock. So I know the XRP ledger is still doing that as well, but what I'm saying is they're both like, they were both different ends of the spectrum, and they're both getting a little bit closer over time. ETH is becoming more institutionalized, and XRP is becoming a little bit more clever. I'd say the network is becoming more clever, and they're exploring DeFi, for example, on the XRPL. So definitely something to have a read of here and maybe think about. And looking at XRP is starting to move now, but looking at Bitcoin, what we're going to look at is, this is what we want to see. We want to see the closing back within this range. We want to see closing back above $100,000. I do think that is going to happen. As I've said, the short term is a mystery. Looking at the 3-day time frame now, it'd be nice to get this engulfing candle here on the 3 days to see some strength, and I'd like to see some volume come through for Bitcoin as well. Looking at XRP, Very similar story. Like, we'd like to see this 3-day engulfing candle here, basically then to see us reclaim and get above the 272 mark for XRP and start getting some closes above there, and then finally obviously above 290, and then potentially heading towards all-time highs. But one thing to really take into consideration, guys, that not enough people are, I'm going to put us on the weekly again here. For years, we haven't been able to break 180 for literally years. When I say years, I mean like since 2018, and we're in 2025 now. So that's 7 years. We've broken that this year, and then we're just consolidating on top of that break. And that is a sign of strength, not weakness, guys. If we were weak, we would lose that level straight away and return back below and probably chop about. We are not doing that. We're showing that strength and continuation is the most likely outcome. And when it comes, I've been saying for a long time, I think it will be aggressive. And I think the move upwards is going to catch a lot of people off guard, just as this move did here. Consolidating above this previous 7-year resistance or 7-year high is massive green flag in terms of continuation. The fact that we've got the RSI, so the stochastic and different indicators cooling off, giving us space to really head up again, is also positive. It's only a matter of time, in my opinion, for Bitcoin to be breaking all-time highs, and in turn for XRP and altcoins to probably perform pretty well. I'll just look at Bitcoin dominance before we sign off for today. People are throwing out the idea of like, on this retrace or on this next move up, is that when altcoins are going to outperform? What we are looking at here isn't yet an indication that they are. As I've said with Bitcoin dominance, something I've not been sure on, because both previous altcoin seasons have started between 68% and 74%. Are we going to get that squeeze up to 68% dominance for Bitcoin? Like, in the next, it could happen really quickly as well. You could just get like a 2-week candle, boom, boom, like that into this area, where let's say Bitcoin just starts to rip it for like 130, and then that rotation starts to happen. I don't know, but the stochastic on the weekly does look like it needs to cool off a little bit. The standard RSI is making bearish divergences on the weekly, but it has pretty much been doing that since 53%. So what we're looking for on Bitcoin dominance to see potentially more of an alt season is big bearish engulfing candle and losing the bottom of this range. But what we can see is it's respected the range pretty well, this ascending channel. And every single time it's hit the bottom, it's actually then bounced so far. So you would probably have to trade this range unless we lost a significant low, which is probably 54%. And by that time, you've already lost like 9%. And there's only, say 14% left to go to 39. But I obviously, again, do think it will come lower than that this cycle. So yeah, they're the things I'm watching. Today's video has been more of like an explanation of what I'm watching, why I'm watching it. Our CRV buys were looking fantastic right now, guys. We tweeted about all of these positions. I told you exactly when I was buying CRV. We bought between this white line and this blue line here. I think my average buy is like 38 cents, and we're up at 51, which is fantastic. Obviously, publicly tweeted, completely for free for everybody. That's what we do. That's what we try and find these areas of value. I'd like to see CRV continue. I'm going to be probably taking some profits between in this level, this white box here, so between like 190 and $3. Be fantastic to get it up into that range. It'll be a nice, like, I don't know what increase that is. Let's just go, say 38 cents there. It'd be like a 300-400% increase, the minimum. So that'd be great. That's what we're looking for now, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy this video, please do subscribe to the channel. As I said, it helps me out a lot, and it's very kind if you do. And those who do watch, I appreciate you. Hit the like button as well. Helps the algorithm. And I guess I'll see you on the next one. Let's get our fingers crossed for continued green price action this week. I think we're very close to moving up. I'd be interested to see what Arthur Hayes thinks and why he thinks we could come back down to 76k. Could it be to do with like inflation and because Andreas Larsen basically talked about that we might have a window where inflation comes lower because everyone bought pre-tariffs, and then so they have more inventory, and then after Trump's rules come in, then inflation may head back to the upside. I don't know. I'm waiting to see what Arthur Hayes has got to say for us. But other than that, things are starting to look good. Don't be too fooled. Wouldn't be going all in just yet. But that's why I've been saying to DCA at these levels, when because the reversal could come out of nowhere and the foundations are set for the move up. Peace up, A-Town down, as Crypto Insight UK would say.